All right, now let's take a look at Nigeria, for example. When we say kingdom, are we referring to maybe the like of Benin, the like of Sultan of Sokoto, the like of the Oyo Kingdom, that could maybe the presence today? Are you in communication with maybe, for example, the Oba of Benin and things like that? Is that the example that we are talking about here in terms of the African kingdom that you are working with?
Yes, that's the example we're talking about. But I would tell you that being on tour, I have my arms that are reaching out. Like, excuse me, I mentioned the Dean of Ambassadors. Her name is Dr. Evelyn Uyo, and she is also a royalty. She is the one who is in charge in Nigeria, specifically as you have mentioned Nigeria. She is in charge in Nigeria and also the west coastal borders of Africa. So she is right now talking to all the kings that you have mentioned, and they speak to me in return. They bring reports. But right now, as I'm talking with you, she even went to the what do you call it? The Sultan, I think about a week ago, and she went again to Calabar now. She's in Calabar now, and she's traveling from Calabar to Enugu State. So they are speedily moving, into all these people you have mentioned, and they in return report back to me. And some of them I speak to. In the southern region, I've spoken to even the Zwelithini family, the late Zwelithini's family. The son is with us, the prince, what they call it, the Swaziland king, Mswati. I have carried a personal visit to him some years back, and he is also part of us. So there are several regions here that are with us. Like I said, the challenge Africa has here is that most of the countries, their monarchs has been destabilized. And because it's been destabilized, it became a problem to coordinate that country without passing through the government again, because the government now hosts their heritage councils, and that becomes a governmental thing which we're avoiding. We are not parallel, we're not destabilizing the government system, like I said, but we want it to be pure and 100% cultural, traditional. And so countries that have no monarchs makes us to bridge that very, what do you call this, decision that we have made earlier, not to involve the government in the run or affairs of SWAF Federation before the traditional rulers in agreement. But anyway, coming back to your question, not deviating, the people you have mentioned are the people we are meeting in Nigeria. There will be a program on the 24th of this month, which is Africa Day. I will be celebrating Africa Day from South Africa here to other African countries, and most ambassadors of SWAF Federation in Africa will be raising their flags and making comments, and we will have a lot of media release on that very day. So apparently, the Dean of Ambassadors is traveling all the states and also encouraging the other ambassadors from different Western borders to do the same and follow suit of what she's doing.
When you were responding before, you did make mention of the fact that in some countries there are no kingdom, whether in some other countries that are this established kingdom, even though maybe in the composition of the states as we have it today, talking of the republics that we have today, they are not actually based on kingdom. Take an example of a good example would be in Nigeria. The British did create it as according to the history of the people that have been existing in those places. They just match the people together so it can be better for them to manage them. So when you are dealing with this complex setup like this, how simple is it to have an agreement at the end of the day so it doesn't cause conflict? I don't even know if that is possible to be avoided. Help me.
Okay, that's a very, very unique question. I must tell you, we've been having a whole lot of challenges in those countries that this the stability has happened. It becomes a whole lot of stress because we then have to pass through the system we wished not to pass through from the beginning, which is going through the government. Because I keep saying in most of my discussions in the past that the government are the wife, while the kings are the husband. And so imagine where the husband begin to take permission from the wife in existence or in the affairs of the home is very difficult. But still, what we do, since we want to carry everyone along, we still go through the rigorosity of their governmental rules and that in those countries. For instance, I mentioned, I gave example of Burundi, and also is happening even in Mozambique here. Even in Mozambique, they have no kingships that are in existence, but they recognize that this family was once a family of chieftaincy and is a family of royalty. So when we inquire and get such, we do what we call restoration. Restoration, we recoronate someone from that family and then begin to operate with that person. But some places that are not easy or that have no traces anymore, and even their generation, shame, what a shame, do not even know what is a king. You tell them, to say, what is that? And then you begin to explain royalty that, oh, is that what you mean? Now go to Heritage Council. You see, those are the challenges we have. So we rely on their heritage councils. Well, it is obvious, and I must tell you that governments of such countries still recognize and understand that no, their country should still have a cultural base. So they still establish their cultural and heritage departments that people can consult. So we go through that. That's the only way.
And how simple is that to be put in place? Because I'm just trying to understand how you would manage to set up a system like that. Tell me if it is a simple thing to do. What are actually the technicality of able to set up a system like that and it should really work?
All right, it is not very easy. Hence, I said it was one of the reasons why we then began to have our arms stretched. And our arms stretched becomes the ambassadors that we have appointed. So, like, we have about 7 ambassadors in Mozambique. So what we then did was to send them on errands to their different departments with some letter of introduction. And speedily, they were able to get SWAF recognized in their countries and endorsed with letters that they have sent back to us with, from their heritage councils. And then we began to speak to the heritage councils, and they delegated someone who is cultural based or inclined to begin to talk to me or begin to talk to SWAF Federation. So that's how we expedite that. And in such situation, we then choose somebody from that country and coronate the person a chief. As you know, a chief is made, a king is born. So you can coronate a chief, you know, and with my position as the paramount, the head, and a king, I have the right, the audacity, the authority to coronate anyone who is who has done some royal jobs or royally related.
All right, that is very interesting now. Now, what if somebody contests your authority in this situation? So maybe, for example, the people we are referring to are in some part in Nigeria, no? Of course, when we say, okay, let me not use Nigeria now because probably I'm using it that too much. So maybe in some place in Senegal or in Congo, and these people happen not to have a king, and they have their system organized differently, and you want to make them have a king, and they reject the king, and they reject the kingship or somebody to represent them in this sense. What are you going to do?
No, they can reject the kingship, but they can reject the person that is nominated or the person that is now coronated for that position uh, with some reasons. And the reason will be that no, we still will be able to identify the rightful family to be there. Then we respect that because it has to be so. But in a situation whereby they are not able to recognize the family who was a royalty or who is supposed to be in that position, then they have nothing to do over that. The person actually with coronate will forcefully take his position because that's how it is in terms of royalties.